So welcome to the next instalment, the packing list. It's not about packing your rucksack or your suitcase or things like that. It's the understanding for when you're out and about on the move and being able to survive whilst doing that. See here is the Get Short Survival Guide. What's on the agenda for today? Here we're going to have a little recap on the universal principles. Number 2, the gold standard, the ultimate packing list, 4 tips and tricks. Jump into it with the recap of the universal principles. 1, take pre-made meals wherever possible. Gold standard. Number 2, don't leave it more than 4 hours between meals. Number 3, have non-perishable protein sources on you at all times. So things like granola bars, protein bars, or things like that. And finally, pack your supplements. So if you need to be taking protein powders and stuff like that, put them in a little zip bag ready for you to take. So anyway, going on to packing pre-made meals. This is the gold standard. So quite simply, once you've done your meal prep and you've got everything ready, and it's already in the fridge, just stick it in. Make sure it's in a leak-proof food container and it's easy accessible, ready to go on the move. Another fantastic way of putting pre-made food ready to go is I've actually used Ziploc bags before and frozen them down. So once that's happened, they become nice and flat within the bottom of the drawers. So they're nice compressed down, so they take up quite a lot less space. If you're struggling to fit space into suitcases or backpacks or bags and stuff like that. And obviously once they're frozen, and you grab them out the freezer, they can act as a cool aid as well. Again, if you are going to a day trip or a conference or anything else like that, keep it in a cool bag, ISO bag, 6-pack bags, etc. Maybe with some frozen blocks in there just to keep it nice and fresh. Or if you are going for a bit longer, as previously mentioned, use the frozen chilies or whatever to use as the ice packs. And then once you get to the hotel room or the facility, ask them to pop it in the fridge and it'll keep it cool a lot longer. So again, that takes us on to number 3, which is storing at work, in hotel or conference. As previously mentioned, once you get there, see if you can store it in that, so it's easy transportable. Key thing is to try and, especially in hot climates, is to try and keep your food as cool as possible for as long as possible. And the final step really is the freeze to fresh. So as I previously mentioned, once it's frozen, utilise that till it goes into the fresh stage, and then you've got food for the next day if you are stuck in a hotel room. If the meeting's run over or stuff like that and you have to grab a room last thing at night, at least it's there then, ready fresh the next day.
Reason is?
So once we've done that, when would we go with non-perishable foods? This is really aimed at for when you've got no real space for food containers or ice packs when you're travelling. Number 2, if you're travelling over long distances or for longer durations, you may want to pack a couple of bars and stuff like that so you've got easy access to food whilst waiting for trains or planes or whatever else. You got the food ready to go. And finally, it's always going to be good for everyday backups. Even if I am able to go away and take ready-made meals with me, I would always take an everyday backup, non-perishable food, just in case anything did really happen, or I did really get really hungry. I've got that backup then, just to really replenish me and give me that kickstart and boost so I'm not tempted to go out and buy junk and processed foods. But what is the ultimate packing list then? I've broken this down into 3 categories. Most important is protein. The thing that I always go for when I'm travelling is protein powder. Now, it's not the best thing and it's not something that I'm trying to push, but when it comes to travelling and you're around about everywhere else, it's in powder form. It's not going to spoil, it's not going to detract away from what you're trying to aim for, and that's good for that great kick and ensuring that you are getting that ultimate protein level in. So on top of that then, I would add protein bars. There are many out there ready available, depending on what your personal goals are, depending on which ones you should really go for. But I really quite like the grenade bars, multiple flavours and different things. Just a key note though, when you're looking at the grenade bars, do look at the carbohydrates, especially the sugars. Some are lower and some are higher, so just try and select ones and get a selection ready and available for you to take when you're travelling. In crisps you can now get also things like beef jerky. They're dried meats that are ready. Come in small packages, but they're nice and flat packed, so and airtight, so you can put them into a bag, a suitcase, no problem.
Beef jerky.
Lean deli meats. Just be careful between the beef jerky, biltong, and these deli meats. They are quite salty, so we need to be careful about how much salt we do actually have, and also the deli meats will be perishable as well. Protein yogurts as well. Full fat Greek yogurt. If you are looking at the calories, the low fat ones generally are lower in calories too, because obviously they removed out the fat source. So if you are struggling to get in the calorie deficits and different things, then you may like to look at swapping food sources. So you might want to take out the full fat one and replace it with the low fat, because the difference within the calorie might make the difference for you. And finally, tinned fish. You can get loads of different ones, from tinned tuna, mackerel, pilchards, even ones that are in tomato sauce, olive oil, spring water. Try to stay away from the ones in brine or sunflower oil. Sunflower oil, that's a different subject, but anything with sunflower oil, really stay away from. It's the worst oil possible that's out there. So once we've got all the protein sources done, we need to look at fats. Almonds, you can really have any nuts within reason. Don't go for peanuts, they aren't technically nuts. I'd highly recommend going for Brazil nuts, cashew nuts, hazelnuts, walnuts. Just make sure that they're plain and not coated in salt or dry rubs or coated in anything. Just make sure that they are the raw, natural nuts. Nut butters are another great one. Combining the butter with the nuts. Although we mentioned about taking no peanuts before, you can actually get peanut butter to go in there. It is a bit complicated the reasons why, but if you are looking for a quick fix, one that I like to normally try and have, especially late at night if you've got that sugar craving, is to segment an apple up and dip it into peanut butter and eat it. It cures the sweet cravings away. Avocados as well. Sometimes you can get them pre-made guacamoles. Avocados we've blended with some chili and lime juice and stuff. Absolutely fantastic. Tubs of olives. You can get these little pre-made packed ones. They're absolutely fantastic for travelling. And finally, saving the best to last, coconut oil. Coconut oil is the king of all oils. It's just a phenomenal source of all brands and fibres of oil chains. And then we've got your carbohydrates and fibre. So here we got fruits. Try and limit them to 2 portions per day if you can. Things like bananas, apples, oranges and stuff like that. Pineapple is another great one. But please note, berries, you can eat them in abundance. Do not detract away from them. So strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, gooseberries, eat them in abundance, because the macronutrients in that and the micronutrients that come from that are absolutely phenomenal. Powder. Now this is huge. If you are away for a very long time and you are struggling to get your vegetables in, then the greens powder drink will help you boost that up to be able to get that. Now it's not everybody's cup of tea, so I really do hammer home eating plenty of green vegetables within my meals, because some people really hate the taste of that. But it's great to put it in a little bit within your protein powders and stuff like that if you are really struggling to get that in. Rice cakes are also a fantastic source. Try and keep them the plain ones though, no yogurt or chocolate covering on it. That then adds a lot more calories. I also ban them from my house because they come in packs of 9, and individually then there's 3 in a pack. Once they're open and I get that whiff of it, I can quite easily demolish the whole lot. So I do try and ban them from home. With the chocolate and raisin one, yogurt covered ones. The plain ones not so much, but they are a great source of getting the carbohydrates and fibre in you.
Rice cake.
crackers as well. These are also quite great. Just be careful of some of them. If you go for the selection of biscuits for cheese and stuff like that, there is some like digestive ones in there which do contain a little bit of sugar for the sweetness. But try and keep them plain and basic ones as best you can. Cream crackers fine. Water biscuits all fine. So that's pretty much my ultimate packing list for when I go away, travelling around. I'll try and pack as much as I can, and that's going to last me for the times that I'm away. So, tips and tricks. Travelling around, you want to try and put your protein powders or green supplement powders in a Ziploc bag. When you zip it, make sure you squeeze all the air out of it and roll it up really nice and tight, and then tape it up so it's less chance of it breaking, tearing or whatever else and getting everywhere. Number 2, get yourself a stackable protein shaker, a smart shaker, pretty much like a shaker where the top then is your water bottle and then underneath you've got a screw cap which you can fit your protein powders and stuff in, so you've already got a ready-made meal ready at hand to go. And finally, always have a protein bar on you. Typically you want 10 grams of protein per 100 calories. So now I'm going to ask lots of questions about which ones we should go for, and obviously there's loads of protein bars on the market, depending on what your price is. But if you go and have a look and say on the back you look at the calories, it says 200 calories for that bar, and it's got 20 grams of protein or more, then generally that's a good protein bar to go for. If it's 200 calories but only say 6 or 7 of protein, then that's pretty typical as a class as a bad one, because there's going to be loads of fats, carbs and extra bits in there. So try and go for the higher protein level per 100 calories per bar. So your action steps from taking away from this tutorial. So look at purchasing a core bag, not to be anything too crazy. Number 2, select your favourite protein bars. And finally, always have something to hand. And one little side note to this, if you are travelling around and making choices, make sure that you are hydrated. So you may need to make sure you've got sufficient of water available as well. I hope all that helps. Any questions as usual, don't feel about reaching out and shooting me a quick PM or anything else like that, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Bye for now.